All right, Wednesday, May 7th, 2025, halfway through the week. So I am going to take you on a hike with me. While I'm on this hike, I'm going to make a video on getting started in the pavement maintenance industry. So I have no script, I have no teleprompter. I'm trying to hike up a hill that's vertical, 50 years old, probably damn near close to 20 pounds overweight. So bear with me if I stutter or can't think about what I want to say next. So there is a ton of really bad advice that is out there right now for people that are trying to get people interested into getting into the pavement maintenance industry. Now I'm not here to hate on anyone. I'm not here to disparage anyone. I'm not calling out names. Please don't blow up the comment section naming people. It's not the purpose of the video. I more or less just want to come to you with unvarnished advice. Anybody that knows me knows I rarely mince words, pretty much tell it the way it is. So if you are looking to get started in the industry, you find this video online, I want to go over a bunch of stuff with you. So least favorite person in the world to talk about is myself, but I think it's important to be able to establish who I am and what my knowledge base is. So I've been around this industry since I was in grade school, since I was 12, 13 years old. Started out doing parking lot striping, going to Sealcoating. Went to college, took a job immediately out of college for a lot of money. Figured out after about a little over 12 months, it's not the path I wanted to go to. I wanted to continue on. So I decided to go into business for myself. So 2001, in my 24th year right now in business, I got started and started doing driveways. Built it into something that I would say is successful. People ask me for advice all the time. So pretty much I tell people all the time, I could bore the living shit out of you, telling you about everything I did right and everything I had success at, or I could actually help you, tell you about the hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistakes I made. So I am going to, if I was to give somebody advice starting in this business right now, I'm going to give you advice as if you were starting tomorrow. Now, one thing I'll tell you, which you're probably not going to find a lot of information online, is marketing and leads are key. Without work, without marketing, without leads, you don't have a pavement maintenance business. I don't care if you have $100,000 in equipment sitting somewhere, you don't have a business if you don't have customers. So, first thing I would do, aside from obviously doing market analysis, is making sure there's enough of demand for your service. Now, I'm based in New Jersey, very populated section of the Router River. It's the Navasink River out there, absolutely beautiful. Where I'm in New Jersey, in the New York metro area here, one of the most heavily populated areas for asphalt on the East Coast. Plenty of work here, also plenty of competition, plenty of work. So you have to first of all make sure there is actually demand for your service. So you have to drive around and see if there is tons of parking lots, driveways that need to be seal coated, and make sure people are sealing them. You see parking lots that are seal coated, that's a good sign, because that tells you property owners, property managers, they believe in the service, they've invested in it before. If you don't, you have to understand you're going to have a little bit of an uphill battle. Now, I don't know all the markets around the United States of America. I know every market on the East Coast, from Maine down to Florida, like the back of my hand. I would tell you any of the states, great locations to be able to start a pavement maintenance business in. Other areas, Midwest, West Coast, I'm not 100% familiar with, but so after you do your market research, you find out people are doing the work, you then have to start to be able to generate leads. Now, I will tell you, starting the cost to acquire customers right now is, I mean, let me take a step back to 2001, how I started. So I started in April 2001. Google was barely out there. Yahoo was pretty much the main search engine. Google was out there. I didn't have a website. I have a website till the following year, and even then, there was really nobody even using it for a couple of years. Everything is digital now. So how I started in April 2001 is I went out, had a bunch of my friends from college that worked with me. I went out and distributed flyers. I distributed about 1,000 flyers a day into very wealthy neighborhoods, put them in the mailbox. I understand, highly illegal, so please don't dime me out to the postmaster, but I would take them, I'd follow the postal truck through the neighborhood, make sure the mail was in the box already, and I'd fold up my flyer, stick it in the flag. And that would generate between 30 to 40 phone calls a day, at which point the next day I would go out there and do estimates. I had a couple of my friends work for me from college, so some of them worked doing seal coating, and sometimes they worked helping with estimates as the lead flow came in. I bounced back and forth between work in the field and doing estimates. So that would bring in 30 to 40 leads a day. Go out the next day, do the estimates, had about probably about a 70% closing ratio, probably pretty close to a 70% closing ratio, and that would continually bring more jobs in. Nowadays, it's an old school guerrilla marketing technique. I know a lot of people sometimes use doorknob hangers if you're starting out in residential. It would work. It's not that it doesn't work, but digital is the main way homeowners are finding people to do work on their homes. So everything from Facebook ads to Google pay-per-click, Google LSA, Yelp, Home Advisor, Angie's List, any of them, and I could make separate videos literally on every single one of them. But so the main thing is going to be able to generate lead flow, and what I would recommend before you go out and spend $25,000-$30,000 on equipment is making sure you can get enough demand. And the way you approach that obviously is as you get in business and you do more and more work, you'll be able to tell people, you'll be able to schedule within 72 hours. Sorry, pollen's terrible. Within 72 hours, you can schedule that work for them. But I would spend, before I bought my first seal coating trailer, I spent a month lining up work. So I'd gotten like $60,000 or $80,000 in work on the books before I started. So I would go out, I'd spend, before you make investment equipment, spend first couple weeks to a month, generating work, making sure you can generate work, finding out what you need to do to actually get work lined up to be able to get customers. The other part to that is obviously making sure you have equipment available to buy. So, and if anybody needs help with that, reach out to me. I've got tons of sources. But you want to make sure you can actually find equipment to buy, so that when you get that book of business built up, you can hit the ground run 100 miles an hour and go. So you'll get your work all ready to go, get work on the books, and once you hit that threshold wherever you're comfortable, you can go out there and purchase equipment and get started. So you see these videos, they talk about, and I'm trying to dance around this the best I can so it doesn't appear as if I'm like targeting people or hating on them, but you see videos with these outlandish titles. I'm just gonna have to come out and say, there's no other way to explain this. So you're gonna see videos that say, make $6,000 a day, $8,000 a day sealing asphalt. What you have to understand is that is a I don't want to use the word deceptive. That is a highly loaded statement. So yes, can you go out there and make $6,000 or $8,000 a day? There's days I go out, I've billed $30,000, $40,000 in a day in seal coating work. But build, net profit, gross profit, These are all terms that people are very unfamiliar with in business, which is why if you check Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist every spring, actually not every spring, every December, while guys get to December and they've made no profit for the year, you'll see tons of equipment on there for fire sales. And that's because people come into this industry thinking, well, I could work, 4 days a month, I can make $8,000 a day. That's $32,000. They don't realize that's a gross. That's not a net, because realistically, starting out in business, you're going to start out in residential. It's not to say you can't start out in commercial. I started in commercial a couple of months after I started my business. It doesn't mean that you can't start in commercial, but for the most part, you're going to be starting in residential work. So to be able to, and by me, where I live in Monmouth County, it's a very affluent area, very wealthy. Average house, $1.5 million. Average driveway is about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet at 30 cents a square foot to seal. You're talking billing, depending on the size of the crew, their skill set, $2,500 to $4,000 a day billing. That's gross. It's not net. At about depending on how your overhead structure is, for me, it's about a 50% profit margin, gross profit margin. So depending on what your overhead structure is. So it's very rare you're going to be going out every single day doing $6,000 to $8,000 in billing. It's just not practical unless you're doing commercial work. And then if you're doing commercial work and you're just starting out, you have to literally be a unicorn. So it's not to say you can't find a customer. Maybe you're a landscaping contractor or a building maintenance contractor, and you've already got established accounts that you work for, customers you work for. It doesn't mean you're not gonna just hit off the bat and start getting $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 jobs, because your clients' properties may have them already. But the thing is that you have to be able to then capitalize that work to pay for it. You've got labor, you've got materials. So this video is going to be more geared towards guys that are just starting, that are going to be in the residential space. Again, commercial could be a whole nother video, a whole nother set of things. So if I was starting today, right now, I work somewhere, quit my job, I was going to get started. First thing I would do is make sure there's a demand. I would be out pounding the pavement every single day, going into residential neighborhoods. I would go into the very high dollar areas where a lot of people know everybody, and I would find the first homes that are in the development, and I would send the owners of those houses a letter with a handwritten envelope in it, offering to do their driveway at a discount, asking if I could put my sign outside their driveway for, you'd negotiate like a 30-day period, whatever it is. And after you do that driveway in there, you're going to then go through that neighborhood and you're going to distribute either doorknob hangers, or if you want to do flyers. Not say it doesn't work, it's kind of like a really gray area with the post office now, from what I've heard from landscapers, guys I'm friends with that do it. But you could go through and you could have a free estimate flyer. It says, we just sealed your neighbor's driveway at this address. You put the address in there so they can go and see the job. This would be the cost to seal coat your driveway. We'll be here next week. This is the exact process I followed in 2001. We'll be here next week sealing driveways, and this is the cost if you want to go ahead and seal coat your driveway at that time. And I said you'll have a great response from that. You'll have a lot of people that will respond and actually schedule to work with you. So I would start doing things that way. So the next situation is then figuring out technology. Okay, well, actually, hold on, let's take a step back. So I'm trying, just bear with me, I'm trying not to fall off this cliff. That's the Atlantic Ocean over there. Now the St. River in the background. Absolutely beautiful place. So I'm trying to think, shoot a video, and prevent from falling off a cliff down 300 feet into the river. So speed to lead. So I will tell you, there is nothing more frustrating as a homeowner than when you call a contractor and nobody picks up the phone. You get voicemail. I don't think there's even answering machines around anymore, but voicemail, an owner's cell phone voicemail, and my favorite, the voicemail box is full. You can't leave any more voicemails. You have to have, there's a great service called Jill's Office that a lot of home service providers use. Jill's Office, they have people answering the phone 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, depending on what, and I'll get into next, depending on what estimating program you use next. They can actually input the info. So there's no double entry. They're not sending you an email or text like Bill Jones called, he needs his driveway done. You can ask him a series of questions they can ask. They actually have a sales aspect to it where it's a little more money, but they can actually call the people back. If you got simple jobs, let's just say a 4-car driveway, the minimum charge is $350 to seal it. There's actually a sales aspect where they can actually call them back, or if they call and you can ask them a series of questions like, how big is your driveway? How many cars does it hold? What holds 4? Okay, our minimum charge is $350. Would you like to schedule it for next week? There's again, these are like videos, as I'm just giving you like a 36,000 foot view of everything right now. I could go on for literally hours till I lost my voice, but they can actually help you with scheduling. So you've got to be responding right away. There's different services of text messages. So if you miss a call, they can actually send a text message out to the missed call. Hey, this is Bill from ABC Driveway Selling. Just want to let you know we missed your call, but please text back, and put different questions in there. They can ask their the type of the driveway they have, their location, service, all that stuff. So next aspect is technology. Guys, this is a non-negotiable. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to be brutally honest with you and brutally upfront. Dude, if you are not tech savvy, if you do not have someone that's tech savvy, if you are not going to embrace technology, just shut this video off and stop watching right now. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. Do not go into any service-based business if you're not embracing technology, because you are literally going to have contractors that are going to come and literally eat your lunch. So you're going to invest in all this equipment, all this money, and no one is filling out 3-part forms anymore. Nobody's putting prices on the back of a business card and leaving them in somebody's front door. Those days they're long over. So navigate through these stickers. That felt great right in my crotch. Oh my God. So once that lead comes in, you have to estimate it. If you're just starting doing seal coating, Jobber is a great program to use. It's a CRM and an estimating platform, so you can put your customer's contact info in there. There is Jobber is a good one for driveway guys, for driveway seal coating driveway seal coating guys. House Call Pro is another great one. Personally, my favorite's House Call Pro. It's got a lot more functionality to it. You can do a good, better, and best proposal system to it. Their job costing is a little more robust. They can, and a lot of these have integrations to collect leads, and to collect reviews and stuff when it's done, payment processors. So you have to make sure you have your software all in place to be able to do. And as I said, like a Jill's Office, I believe they work with Jobber and they work with House Call Pro. So when somebody calls for an estimate, they're going to just punch it right in there. So then when you pull it up on your computer when you get back home, or you pull it up in the app, you'll have everything inside there. It'll be ready to go. So you've got lead generation, you've got estimating. So job costing, again, another 3-hour video I could do. So this is how you do not do job costing, okay? You don't find out what the 3 guys are charging that are in your area doing seal coating and then charge a price slightly lower than that. Because I've got news for you. The 3 biggest guys probably aren't even turning a profit. So you have to figure out what it costs. And again, I could send you a spreadsheet. If you send me an email, I can send you a spreadsheet on how to do it, a very simple to use spreadsheet. Pretty much list out all your overhead, marketing expense, office, telephones, fuel, direct materials, direct labor, indirect materials, indirect labor. I could send you out a spreadsheet that explains how to put everything together. So let's say, figure out your overhead percentage. I'm trying not to get too granular in this because I could go on for hours. To figure out what to charge, you have to figure out what you think you can do in a year. And again, this is somewhat of a guessing game. you have to kind of know. And this is why forming an alliance with other contractors, you're going to probably have a hard time forming one with a contractor in your backyard, especially if you're new, because they're going to probably perceive you as a threat. This is why you want to network with other contractors. Go on to Facebook, but I would warn you, stay out of these Facebook groups for seal coating. They're nothing but just a waste of time and energy. Every time I've been out of them for years, literally every time I'd read the comments and the questions, my IQ would roll back 5 points. So I'm out of them, disbanded from them. LinkedIn is a great place. You can follow me on LinkedIn if you want. LinkedIn's a great spot to find high-level contractors, but you'll be able to make different friends in the industry. You'll be able to talk to them on Facebook and find out different tricks. But you want to find contractors in another market that's successful, and you can find a mentor that will help guide you in the right direction, give you the right information. I'm saying find a mentor that's successful, not a guy that's living in an apartment or a trailer park that's Sealcoating. I'm talking like find a successful mentor, and they'll help you figure out what you need to figure out for job costing. So you're gonna have to figure out an average in your area. So what I would do is what they call an ADL, an average dollar per lead. Figure out what an average driveway cost in your market, what you can do per day, per week, per month with those driveways, how many per season, depending on how many days you have in your season. If you're in a 7-month market, 6-month or 12-month market, figure out what you think you'll bill per year. And then you've got to figure out what your cost is to do that work. So you figure out what your cost is per square foot for material, per square foot for labor, per square foot for your overhead. You've got to figure out all your overhead in there. And then you can figure out what to charge from that. So let's say the average your average price per square foot with your direct materials, your direct labor, all your indirect costs, let's say that is 5 cents a square foot. And then you figure out your overhead is 3 cents a square foot on top of that, so you're at 13 cents a square foot, and you want to charge 26 to 30 cents a square foot to do the work. Then you figure out what your profit potential is. But that's why you want to kind of figure out, to a degree, not using it as a benchmark to price yourself, but using it for opportunity, figuring out what the going rate is in your marketplace. And the easiest way to do that is, and you can blow me up in the comments for this, because every time somebody brings this up, I know there's a bunch of haters. Like, none of you guys have ever done this before. I know everybody's like so perfect. God bless you all. But so you have a relative, call the 3 biggest companies in your area, get a price of their driveway, and make sure it's a good driveway, not some shitbox driveway that's falling apart. Like, make sure it's a serviceable driveway. It could be seal coated, maybe a little bit of crack fill. Make sure it's not all cracked up, falling apart, because they're either going to give an unrealistic price or they're just not going to respond. You got to get those average prices, look at them, and then you've got to back that out for what you're looking to make profit wise to make sure you can make money. Now, I'm not saying be discouraged, because I will tell you, when I started in business, I immediately went into the wealthiest section, which when I started in business, I live in the wealthiest section now. At that time, 24 years ago, the wealthiest section was up in central western New Jersey. So I immediately went into that market to start my driveway business. And I had to commute every day, back and forth an hour in traffic. Had a self-storage facility up there. I would keep my seal coating trailer in and my blowers and all that stuff, and I commute back and forth. But I went into that market, and I was 20% more expensive than every other contractor that was in there. And one thing I noticed was, because these guys were all playing like leapfrog to figure out who could beat each other out. Well, all of a sudden, and I made a great friend out of this. I made a best friend with a guy in the seal coating business who was pretty much the king in that area. And I literally unseated him in the matter of like a couple months. So all of a sudden, now all these contractors are jumping their prices up. So before they were telling me, you're the most expensive, you're 20% more. Then all of a sudden, once they started to figure out that they were losing the work, not only losing the work, but losing it to somebody who's more expensive, and that had to do with the way I was marketing everything. Then all of a sudden, everybody started just raising their prices up again. So, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hi.
How are you?
Everybody started raising their prices up. So then all of a sudden at that point, nobody was coming back anymore and saying that you were expensive. So I actually wound up making still a very good friend of mine. He's moved out of the area. He doesn't live here any longer, but we were best friends whole time he lived here. And he literally pulled up on one of my jobs one day, and this is a great tip. Okay, this is talking about networking. So I'm killing these guys. I mean, literally, like, dude, there was no social media back then, so there's no way to troll anybody and, you know, disparage them online and talk about, you know, they have sex with midgets, whatever it is, you know, all the terrible things people say about people. He pulls up. We're in a neighborhood. My guys are seal coating, and I was doing estimates, and I stopped back to bring them water, and they're like, you know some guy named Beckett Seal Coating? I said, well, I don't know him, but I mean, we see their signs all over. I said, we're kicking their ass. He goes, okay. Well, he goes, I don't know if it's the owner or not, but he goes, he's driven by 3 times now. It's okay. So we're just, you know, sitting there drinking water, and here he comes for the 4th time, pulls up, gets out of the truck. Now, this is the difference. This is how you forge a relationship. Now, he could have gotten out of that truck, okay, and, you know, like a rooster all cocked up and come at me, you know, spewing hatred, but he wasn't. He was smart, because he figured out he had been in that market for 10 years, and I came in, and in a couple months, I was literally whooping his ass in there. So he came up to me and he goes, listen, man, he goes, the name of my company was Driveway Guardian. That's what I started as. My original idea was to franchise it when I started. So I wanted something that was catchy that would use across the country. So he comes up to me and he says, is this a franchise? No, it's not a franchise. He goes, well, it sure looks like one. I said, no. I said, it's not a franchise. He goes, can I ask you a question? Sure. He goes, how are you taking all my customers right now? He goes, I have customers' driveways that I've been sealing for 10 years now, and you're taking them. They're literally calling. He goes, and what's worse, not only are you taking my customers, he goes, you're taking them for more money than I'm charging for. So I had nothing to lose. The guy was the same age as me. I had nothing to lose. So I said, meet me at TGI Fridays tonight, and we'll sit down. I'll show you what I do. So we went in and we got dinner, and I showed him how his marketing. So same thing. He's using a 3-part form, putting his price on it. I've got a bubble jet printer in the back of my pickup truck with a laptop. I'm printing proposals. I'm giving him brochures to the pavement sealer, disclaimers. Hey, by the way, your edges are crumbling, or you've got some alligator cracking, or you've got bad oil spots. Just so you know, these areas aren't warranted, all this stuff, explaining all this, you know, just following a transparent business model. And people, that resonate with people. They like that. So, you know, I just said to him, you know, we're out to dinner, and I said, listen, man, you know, I'm not the enemy. Because he was like the 2nd most expensive contractor in the market. He's like, I've been trying to raise my prices for years, but he goes, I don't want to do it because I'm losing work. He goes, you obviously figured it out. And I sat down and showed him. So that's a lesson where if you're new and you find the right contractor who's not threatened by people, he's not insecure, he's not a guy that's always worried somebody's trying to stab him in the back, you may have a contractor that'll work with you. But I will tell you right now, do not fuck with that guy. Because if you find that guy, and I've had plenty of people over the years, literally, that I have just redlined because they will not, they're just underhanded. They're trying to gain something out. If you find a guy like that is going to give you his time, mentor you, do not, I'm telling you right now, you get the wrong guy. I'm not that guy. It's not a veiled threat in any way. But you get the wrong guy in that situation, dude, and your business could be snatched up in a second. He could literally run you out of business in a second. So try to find that guy, have a, you know, good relationship with him, because, you know, I've always taken the stance that, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats. So I'm not saying network with guys that are fly-by-night contractors and not doing it the right way. I'm saying, like, guys that are doing it the right way, that want to do it the right way. Network with those guys. And you have no idea. I can't, and I'm not even gonna put statistics out there. I'm not trying to brag in any way, but I can tell you, I know at least probably a dozen companies I've helped over the years, like help them fix certain things, marketing, operations, employment, and their businesses have grown from the advice I'm giving them. So in this industry, that's why you want to go to trade shows. You want to, the pavement trade shows like PaveX. You want to go to these trade shows and you want to network with people, because you don't realize the person that you're sitting next to at one of these shows or one of these cocktail hours that you're at. That's why you don't ever want to go to these things bombed. Like you want to go respectfully. The guy that you're sitting next to at a table, a guy at a round table, stay out of round tables. They're a joke. It's just a bunch of people want to hear themselves talk. But so a guy at a trade show, a guy at a cocktail hour, you don't realize that guy like could take you to another level just for the fact that he's got so much information that he can help you with, that you're having issues with stuff. I've had contractors literally call me. I've solved a problem for them in 3 minutes, and they'll say to me, I've been dealing with this for a year now, or 2 years, or 6 months, or this has cost me $80,000. And they don't realize one phone call, one text message, one email, one FaceTime call, and the right person can solve that for you. So I cannot stress to you enough how important the relationships are, to talk to people that are in this industry, that are successful, that are proven, that can help you. So, oh God, I don't even know where the hell I left off. So, you figure, okay, so you figure out where your price point is. And then at that point, once you figure out where everybody is, you can kind of figure out what your profit potential is. So the next thing is, and this is where it's going to take some practice, you got to have, especially if you're going to be more expensive, is you got to have marketing materials that are going to smoke everyone else. I mean, you've got to be able to have a different process that looks different from everybody else, because in the seal coating industry, everybody is pretty much views the same, because as far as the homeowner is concerned, all you're doing is putting something black on their pavement, on their driveway. They don't realize one guy's putting black water down, the other guy's doing it the right way, the other guy's a hack that doesn't know whether he's doing it right, not doing it right. So your marketing materials are fine, and it's going to take you time to establish yourself to get that. So that's why you're going to want to do, maybe some family members' driveways. You want to get practice. You do not want to practice on a paid job. I mean, there's got to be, you have to have enough friends and family that will take a free driveway, or at least take pity on you, at least pay for the materials and labor. And you could practice in the driveway with the disclaimer that if it comes out like crap, you don't ever want to hear about it ever again. But there is enough, there's enough information online. I'm actually trying to publish some stuff right now, like how-to manuals. And again, everything I'm giving you, this advice is free. I have no ulterior motive. I'm not selling anything. I have no intention of selling anything. Anything I publish online, it's readily available. It's not gated. You don't have to pay to see it. Everything I'm telling you is from real-hand experience, because I had people help me when I started in business, and now it's my obligation to pay that forward and help other people. So anything I post online isn't going to be something you're going to have to pay for, but you want to learn as much as you can. That's the dangerous part about YouTube and social media, is you have tons of people online that are posting things that have no clue what they're talking about. They're literally faking it till they make it, and it's your money and your reputation that's on the line if it goes sideways. So you're going to want to learn on a couple jobs, and that's where that's where it's good to kind of find a mentor, because they might invite you out to help, go on a job that they've got going on, and kind of train you from there and help you. I've come out and helped guys before that have gotten started. I don't do it as much anymore because I'm extremely busy, but 10 years ago or so, I would fly out somewhere or drive somewhere to help somebody if they were having issues. A lot of stuff now, in all honesty, I could do it over FaceTime, help people, train them over the phone, to give them a hand if they don't know what they're doing. So if their guys are struggling with something, I can do a lot of that stuff through FaceTime and everything. But so you want to get a couple jobs out there, get everything started, and then the other part of it is literally, I mean, this is a tough business. I'm not going to bullshit you. It's not an easy business. Nowhere near as easy as they say it's on. You're dealing with labor. You're dealing with trying to find work. You're dealing with material interruptions, weather. I mean, there are so many different variables to it. But I will tell you, financially, it's been rewarding. My family wants for nothing. I am truly blessed to have the life that I have and everything I've achieved over the years. can't even imagine, like, you know, where I would be if I didn't do this. So there, there's a lot to it, but you got to be mentally tough, man. There is, you know, labor is, I don't see labor getting any easier. They're never going to find a way for AI to apply pavement sealer. So you have to literally be mentally and physically tough in this business to be able to handle things. You're going to heal, you know, again, that'll be another 6-hour video of pivoting for every single curveball that's thrown in your way. But, you know, I think back to, and I mean, I haven't had like disasters, but I mean, I could think back to like some issues, like bad stuff that I had encountered in business with, you know, labor issues, trying to collect money from customers, then owing money to suppliers because they're not paying us, and like there's a lot to it. So you have to be pretty much mentally tough to take this business. If you're not able to pivot easily, this is not going to be, it's not going to be an easy business for you. That's why you see so many guys go in, so many guys go out. So after you learn how to do everything and you're out seal coating, the idea then is obviously the repeat business. So in that CRM, you're going to have your list of clients. We send out reminder postcards every March. So depending on where you are, you can recommend people reseal every 2 or 3 years, depending on the climate that you're in. I used to always tell customers, if it's brand new asphalt, seal coat the first year, then seal coat the second year, and then you can wait 3 years to make sure it's 100% coated properly. So, but you want to be able to build up a ton of repeat business. So having that CRM, all those customers in there with that pricing will allow you to start off every March, your second or third year, depending on your book of business you build up. And that'll be a good portion of work that's right there. And then as you're getting driveways in those neighborhoods, you want to then start either like a digital, you know, again, man, it's like, I'm trying to stay on topic here. There's just so much stuff I could go into, but you can use Facebook to market. You can do postcard marketing, every door direct mail in certain neighborhoods. So if you know you've got 3 repeat clients in one development, the idea is to get into the same development each day, so you're not having to keep driving all over the place. So if you're using Facebook to do target ads, you can target the neighborhoods. Every door direct mail, every door EDDM goes by postal route, so sometimes the postcards may funnel outside the neighborhood you want to go into because it's in the carrier's route. But there's situations like that you can use to market. And said the biggest thing, obviously, make sure you got a sign. I was always a big fan of the driveway barricade tape. You can get, I don't know if they still do it. They used to do it for us. It was Seaton, S-E-T-O-N, Seaton. They're somewhere in Connecticut, and they get like you get 12-inch instead of regular cross tape, which is only like 4 inches. You can get this 12-inch banner tape, print your name on it, your phone number, again, all that stuff. Situational awareness, so I heard something move even with my AirPods in. Always ready. You can get I would get a QR code. So if I was to get that tape, if your name's brandable, you know, if you want to make sure, if you pick a good name that's brandable, obviously use your name as much as you can. But if you're just using a basic name, you know, Bill Sealcoating, put it on there. But I would have website, phone number. I mean, the biggest trick I think use is like a QR code, because then people don't even have, they can literally take their camera, point at the driveway tape, and you have that go to a landing page, not to your page. Like, you don't want that going to your home page. You want that going to a landing page. So you want to do something like, for that landing page, something to the effect of, hey, you know, we you know, you're at this page, you landed here because we just sealed your neighbor's driveway. We'd love to seal yours too. Just so you know, we'll be back in your neighborhood next week. Fill out this form here to get an instant estimate. And again, estimates, I go on for another 6 hours. So I'm just trying to keep it this video in under an hour, so it's not reading like stereo instructions when you're trying to watch it. But you want to have some type of landing page set up for specifically for those estimate requests for when they come in to be able to generate it. And labor, again, could be another 6-hour video. The only thing I would tell you is, and I know a lot of guys like to try to run these businesses on the side, make sure you're running your business the right way. Make sure you're an LLC. Don't have a sole proprietorship. Don't put your trucks in your name. Make sure any of your assets are an asset holding company. Do not pay your guys cash. Do not pay them under the table. If it's a family member, somebody helping you on the weekend, it's one thing, but you got full-time guys working for you. Make sure they've got workman's comp insurance. Make sure they are legal on the books. I'll tell you about a friend of mine that got sentenced to 1 year and a day in federal prison for getting caught paying his guys under the table. It's no joke. They're the government, you know, I mean, obviously not with Trump right now, but the former government, you know, they were always they're always looking to make an example out of somebody because it's called forced compliance. So they will clip somebody and they'll make an example out of that guy because they know the other 10,000 contractors that aren't following the rules, they're going to toe the line once they see that. So they know if they lock somebody up and they do a press release and they make a big thing out of it. Listen, contractors, they're like the biggest ones, the IRS targets, because they know there's tons of cash in the business. They know guys are getting paid under the table. It's bullshit. So I would tell you, do everything the right way. Do not take chances screwing around paying guys under the table and cash and everything. And I'm not gonna say if you want to give a guy a bonus or something at the end of the week and you want to take the money out of your own account and claim it on your taxes and everything like that, and you want to give your guys a $50 bill or $100 bill at the end of the week if they got a lot of work done. I'm not saying there aren't that, but just make sure you're doing it the right way to keep yourself out of jail. And that's not legal advice. I'm not a CPA, so do not construe that as either legal or financial advice. So I'm just telling you hypothetically what you could do. So you've got your workers. That's all taken care of. Let's see, is there? I mean, equipment maintenance is huge. Making sure your equipment's right, paying your guys. Me personally would not pay guys by the hour. Do not pay them by the day. Do not pay them by salary. Pay your guys a percentage of the job. It's the best way to get guys to stay motivated. So not saying you got to show them every single job how much money you're making off it, but you could tell them, here, these are the 4 driveways you guys are doing for the day. There's 3 of you guys. I've got my labor at $900 is what I budgeted, $900 in labor. Everybody gets, you know, $333.33 off this job at the end of the day. So that's one way to keep guys motivated, because then the end of the day, they're going to want to put more work on, do more work. So, but that is, I'm probably going to have to do this in a 2-part video. So I'm going to sign off for right now. I got to hop on a phone call at 12:30. But if you have any questions, just reach out. Thanks.